Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this video, whatever time. Today's video is about Disney's Keys to the Kingdom tour at the Magic Kingdom. Now first, what is the Keys to the Kingdom tour? Well, it's a 5-hour walking tour of the Magic Kingdom where you learn all sorts of amazing facts, you go into backstage areas, and you get to go into the famous Utilidor under the Magic Kingdom. Lunch is also included, and as of this recording, it is $114 plus tax. But if you are an annual pass holder or DVC member, you get 15% off. So for Alicia and I, it was just over $200. I will give you a bit of a spoiler warning because there may be some things that I tell you about in this video that may ruin the magic for some. So if you don't mind, like I'm not going to go into specific details and tell you all a bunch of stuff, but there might be some things you go, oh, I didn't want to know that. So spoiler warning. Okay. To start your Keys to the Kingdom tour, you will pick a time slot, which could be 8, 8:30, 9, or 9:30. I think they run 3 or 4 tours a day. And you get to the Magic Kingdom, and you're going to check in over at the Town Square Theater. So you go under the train tracks and to the right, as if you were going to go meet Mickey Mouse. But as you walk in the doors to the building, you look over to your left, and there is a station set up, and you will check in there. And they will check, ask for your ID, check in, and then they will also ask for your lunch order, because lunch is also included with this. At the moment, the lunch is served at Pecos Bill's. So you go ahead and choose your lunch so that it is ready and waiting for you when you get there at lunchtime. Then they give you, right before that, they give you a listening device, which will allow you to hear the tour guide the entire time. However, of course, if you get too far away from the tour guide, which should happen once or twice, the signal kind of cuts out. But you get a listening device so you can hear, and you also get a name tag, has your name on it. So instead of referring to you as, hey, you, she can say, hey, Mike, whatever. After a few minutes, your tour guide will come and get you. Your tour can consist of up to 20 people, and it is also fully accessible. In our group, we had one gentleman on a motorized scooter and a lady in a wheelchair, but the entire tour is fully accessible. So if you're worried about that, don't. They are very accommodating. To start the tour, she will introduce herself. Ours was Zoe. Amazing. She told us some how she got to where she was and where she started, I think, in the Disney College program. She was a Jungle Cruise skipper. She went to guest services, and now sometimes she gives tours. But if she's not giving tours, she's probably over at guest services at City Hall on Main Street. We start the tour at Main Street, and she gives us some information about the names on the windows. Every name on the windows as you're walking down Main Street has a meaning or is an actual person, like, of course, Roy and Walt Disney, Roy Davis, Mary Blair, a bunch of other ones she actually told us about, and she gave us some information on everyone. Once we're done at Main Street, we walk over towards Adventureland. And granted, I'm kind of going through this pretty quickly, but she is very detailed and gives great information. And she also asks if you have any questions. Now, when you're on the tour, if you are in an onstage area or a guest area where all guests can see or be, she encourages you to ask onstage questions. But when you get to a backstage area, she encourages you to ask backstage questions, where you can ask things like, how many Mickey Mouse are there? Or Mickey Mouses? On stage, 1. Backstage, you have to find out. So we make our way over towards Adventureland, and we have our first bathroom break right near Stairs the Attraction, also known as Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse. Her joke, not mine. Pretty good joke. And then we make our way over to the Jungle Cruise, and she gives us some great information about the Jungle Cruise and how his original vision was to have actual live animals. And we have no idea how that would work with the sleeping zebra scene that is surrounded by lions. Yeah. After the Jungle Cruise, we head over towards Pirates of the Caribbean. Caribbean? And she tells us about pirates, and then we make our way into our first backstage area. Now, during the entire tour, you're not allowed to use your cell phone, so don't pull it out. She did say that if someone is caught using their cell phone, taking pictures, videos, the tour will end abruptly. So don't ruin it for anybody else. Keep your phone in your pocket unless this is an absolute emergency, especially in the backstage areas, because they don't want anything, and then they will protect everything. And she was never mean, or she was always fun, engaging, and informational. So she takes us into the backstage area, and we walk down to where they keep the barges for the electrical water pageant that happens in the Seven Seas Lagoons. Of course, during the day, they don't look like anything. They're just barges with things on them. We walk down a little bit further, and we can see the warehouses where they keep some of the parade floats for the cavalcade and the Festival of Fantasy. And we walk in front of this door, and there is the Maleficent dragon from Festival of Fantasy. And just awesome. We also saw some other floats, like the Christmas float that holds Santa Claus. And we also saw them getting ready for the character cavalcade. If you are in a backstage area, there is the likelihood that you will see something that, again, may ruin the magic. We saw characters getting ready, which means they did not have their heads on. I was actually looking in a different direction, and Alicia actually got to see Mickey putting her head on. There are also height requirements that the characters have to meet. We found out that, of course, if you want to be a friend of Mickey, you have to be under 5 foot. So I think it's like 4'10" to 5 foot, and this crushed Alicia's dreams because she's 5'3". Then we headed back out towards our onstage area and towards Pecos Bill's for lunch. Now, when you get to lunch, you have a place card with your food that is already ready and waiting for you. This is what it looks like. And inside this place card is a key. This is such a cool memento. I don't know if you can read it, but it says Disney's Keys to the Kingdom. So you have 30 minutes to eat lunch, and then once you're done with that, you are continuing on. We did have an issue with some people, some foot traffic heading towards Haunted Mansion from Frontierland, because there was, I guess they added the band to go through a little earlier than she was expecting. That is the time where our group got so far apart from each other that I actually had trouble hearing. I was actually the last person in the group. We go over to the Haunted Mansion. She's giving us some facts about it, and she's like, "Hey, do you want to ride?" Cool. All right, well, the wait time is 45 minutes. I can't afford Genie Plus, so I guess we're going in the exit. And she takes us to the servants' quarters. We get our own stretching room, and then we join the normal crowd, and then we get on the Haunted Mansion. Now, there's no tour guide, there's no information while you're riding it. You are just riding and enjoying it as a guest. We did have to stop 3 times. We found out later that 2 times was for accessibility, so people getting on and off that maybe need a little extra time. But apparently 1 time was because a guest decided they weren't getting off, so they had to hit the emergency brake. After the Haunted Mansion, we take another restroom break near the Tangled restrooms, and she gives us some more facts about the area. I actually asked a question here because I was pretty sure, if you're walking around Disney, there's a lot of what appear to be metal spikes on buildings everywhere. And I was like, those are lightning rods, right? She goes, yep, we want to keep everybody safe, which the keys to the kingdom are actually 5 keys, are safety, courtesy, inclusion, show, and efficiency. Obviously, the first one being safety. So they want to keep all the guests safe. That's why the lightning rods are right there. Once we're done with the bathroom break here, we walk over to Fantasyland and actually behind Prince Charming's carousel to get a view of the back of Cinderella Castle. She tells us about the stained glass windows and how, I never realized that there's a restaurant in there. I mean, I thought the Cinderella Royal Table was on the same level as all the guests, but I guess you go in and actually you go up. Never eaten there. But then she's like, "Are you ready? This is the moment you've all been waiting for. We're going into the Utilidor." Now, again, spoiler warning. So we go into a door that is, it's near Winnie the Pooh. I'm not going to tell you which door. And once you're through the door, I'll be honest, the magic stops. Doesn't stop for me because I was very excited. I'm still excited. I know if you probably work there, you're probably like, whatever, another day at work. But you go backstage, and like I said, it is fully accessible. They do have elevators, which makes sense because not only do they have to be accessible for people, but they have things to move around and carts and all sorts of stuff. So our two guests that needed accommodation got in the elevator, and we went down some stairs, and there we are in the Utilidors under the Magic Kingdom, which again I find absolutely amazing. There's no theming down there. There's no Disney music down there, because who wants to be working on It's a Small World all day and then go down there and hear it some more? So they play all sorts of music, like Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News. I was very surprised to hear that song down there because it's a Back to the Future song, which is a Universal property. Whatever. So she gives us some facts and some information. We actually kind of walk by the costuming department. We see break rooms and all sorts of stuff. And then we actually walked under the castle, and we kind of stopped, and then she pointed out that there's the elevator to the Cinderella Royal Suite, which she also says no amount of money can buy you a night in the Cinderella Suite. There's only two ways. You win a contest, or you are or you are invited, and like a VIP. She said something about, I think Katy Perry stayed there one night and had Domino's. And then I'm going to be honest, there's a lot of traffic down there. Not as much as there is on stage, but down there's a lot of traffic. So we walked from the castle to Main Street underneath it. Awesome. She also told us about the trash system, and the information was amazing. We get to the front. There are pictures and shadow boxes about the opening of the park. And she's telling us, of course, Walt never got to see, they didn't even break ground before Walt passed. So Roy took over and wanted to make sure that his little brother's vision was realized. So they have a bunch of pictures. If you are a huge Disney fan, and Alicia, it was somewhat emotional in this area because she's telling the story. And then 2 months after the dedication, Roy passed away. And then we were led back on stage to another set of elevator/stairs. And this is the last opportunity to ask backstage questions. Someone asked, how many cast members are there on property? And she goes, well, before COVID, or before the pandemic, there were about 80,000 cast members, but now there are only about 60,000. And I actually asked, what is the capacity of the Magic Kingdom? And she goes, well, that's not a number they actually give us, so we're not really sure. But when she was asking questions along the tour, I was kind of answering most, because there was a lot of things I already knew, and then there was a lot of things I was also surprised to find out. But I also said, maybe one day I can work for Disney, and this kind of actually seems like something I think I might be able to do as a tour guide. And she's like, well, like I said, we used to have 80,000, so there's room for you. Then we ended our tour, and she encouraged us to take pictures with a flip of her hair. Again, Zoe was awesome, great information, and that's where the tour ended. It was 5 hours, pretty much exactly, 8:30 to 1:30, and then we could go on about our day. We could stay in the Magic Kingdom, which we did for a little bit. We picked up some Starbucks as we were up early, looked through the shops, and then we're gonna hop over to Epcot because they have the Dumbo pass holder magnets, and they also have Figment popcorn buckets. So we just had to have them. $25. There is no discount on him, unfortunately, but he has a popcorn bucket, and he does open, and they showed us specifically how to open him. I guess so they don't want us to break him. So you pull down on the nose, and he pops open. So it's currently empty because we took the popcorn out for our son because he loves popcorn. Yep, that was our day. That was our tour. We had an absolutely amazing time, and like, even though I've done the tour, I kind of want to do it again because who knows, we might get a different tour guide who provides different information, stuff we didn't know. Like going back into the Utilidors would be awesome. And there are other tours. Some of them are not currently available. I asked about the Marshall Into the Magic, and it is still not available. But it was awesome. I will see if I can get some supplemental video, maybe another video later, of Alicia's point of view and how she enjoyed the tour. It's just right now it's easier for me to record and do things by myself. But I hope you've enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like, comment if you have any questions. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability, and make sure to subscribe. We don't necessarily have anything huge coming up in the immediate future, but we do have a cruise near the end of May on the Carnival Celebration, an 8-day cruise to the ABC Islands, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. And we have a Disney cruise in September, which has a double dip in Castaway Cay. Excuse me, Castaway Cay? Whatever. But who knows? We'll see you then. Until the next adventure.